This training helps you learn about coordination, linkage, and monitoring. Very important services that a case manager provides to all clients and client families and significant others. Stephanie Brooks, Children's Case Management Manager at Salus Care, is going to help us take us through the next few slides.
Make effective referrals and follow-ups. Case managers are the link between the individual and the complex health and social services environment. It's really important that when you make a referral that you know exactly why you're making it and you tailor your referral to say exactly that. And you want to make sure that you follow up on the referrals, make sure that they received it, and make sure that they contacted the family if that's what they're supposed to do within a certain time frame. And if they hadn't, make sure you reach back out to the agency that you completed the referral for and see where they're at in following up with the client that you're serving. Identify and maintain information about available community resources. The case manager must understand the community environment and facilitate the individual's access to appropriate community resources. This is critical in meeting the needs of the client. It's really important that as a case manager, you are able to get the resources that you needed and keep them for yourself, because you'll likely need many patients or clients that need to access those services. So you want to ensure that they're easily accessible for the next time you want to find it and refer somebody else. You also want to make sure that the individual's access is appropriate. In our county, for one, it's very large, and if you refer somebody to an agency across town, that could be a 45-minute drive, and some of the families don't always drive. So you want to make sure that they're actually able to engage in the treatment once the referral is made. Linking and coordinating services requires being familiar with the community resources and the individual's informal support network. Oftentimes, people have their own support network, whether it's big or small, that you can build upon. So it's important that you ask them about their current resources that they have in order to build a bigger network for them to provide the services that they need. The case manager develops relationships in the community and helps the individual develop relationships with the services and agency providers that will help the client attain the identified goals. Sometimes we get families that may not know how to communicate effectively, whether that's in their treatment or in their education, and it's important for us to either rehearse how that's going to go when they meet with those people in the future, or go with them and kind of lead by example. So providing the right verbiage is really important, and making sure that you stick to the points that you're there to get services with, instead of maybe going off about other things. It's just really important to stay focused on that. Linking individuals with services respects the individual, promotes the individual's independence, which is important because in the end, case management is not forever. So you want to ensure that whatever you're doing with the client is promoting their independence, so that way in the future, without you, they are able to access those services with ease. Offers choices that reflect the person's values and preferences. If it does not reflect the person's values and preferences, most likely the client that you're serving is not going to buy into the programs that you're referring them to, and you want to ensure that it really reflects those values and preferences, so that they will continue treatment long after case management ends. Referrals are the least intrusive, most cost-effective, and the highest quality. When it goes to being least intrusive, you want to make sure that you're not setting somebody up to go maybe every day to treatment if maybe they only need one day. If it becomes too intrusive and it's too expensive and it just interferes too much in that daily person's life, you'll find that they will also stop that treatment.
Here is a partial listing of professional networks you may want to look into.
Make formal and informal referrals to service providers identified in the case management plan. It's important to be specific in your individualized case management plans and ensure that you follow up with the services that you put in there specifically that you're going to link them to in the community. That could be somebody such as for the kids world, where it's a parent ESC liaison, and you want to build those partnerships up so that when you're no longer there as a case manager to help advocate for the person, that they know where to turn to hold people accountable, such as teachers or the principals, and ensuring the plans that you guys put in place stay in place. Case management activities are likely to include communicating and negotiating with formal and informal service providers, making referrals and or service authorizations, coordinating and collaborating with service providers, and providing advocacy, risk management, conflict mediation, etc. when required. It's important that you ensure always good, effective communication with the partners in the community. Most likely this is not going to be your only time where you're working with an agency or a partnership, and you want to make sure you continue that good relationship, that you can continue making referrals to them so that they can continue to benefit all future patients, including the current ones that you're serving. Advocate for the client to promote individual choice and self-determination. I think it's important to always advocate for what the patient needs and knowing when to step in through direct intervention and when not to ensure that they get the resources that are necessary. So that could be possibly defending the client, advocating for them in a certain setting, but ensuring that they also use that self-determination skill of theirs to promote that choice that would be best for them. Definition of self-advocacy: self-determination and self-determination skills. The definition of self-determination is the process by which a person controls their own life. I can only imagine how exhausting and disheartening and deflating it must be to some of our clients. People are always talking about you, your faults, your disabilities, your shortcomings, your negative behaviors, telling you what you need to do. And how often do we let them participate in the process? A person should always participate in their service plan process. This is so important. In order to get people to buy into their treatment, it's really important that they are part of the decision-making process, and that goes along with what is in the service plan.
We learned in the last slide from Stephanie Brooks that self-advocacy includes self-determination, and that self-determination is the process by which a person controls their own life. One controls their own life when they can advocate for themselves, and this means a person can make choices for themselves, make decisions, use problem-solving skills, set goals and achieve goals, develop a sense of self-awareness, and learn how to self-regulate, take care of their emotions so there aren't upheavals that prohibit a person from making choices and making decisions for themselves. The case manager helps link people to services and treatments based on where the person is and the level of assistance that they need. So if they need help with choice making, making decisions, learning how to problem solve, maybe those are therapy referrals. Maybe they're referrals to the local community, Salvation Army, or to NAMI. The case manager takes a look at what the client needs, looks at the list of resources that are available in the community, looks at what the client already has established and achieved for themselves, and helps the client forward from there.
Appropriately terminate case management services to include providing reasonable notice, securing client and or significant others' acknowledgement of and agreement to the case termination, and if appropriate, effectively and efficiently transitioning the client to the next level of care. This is very important to have a discussion at the start of case management. You're always wanting to talk about what that end result is going to look like, or what it may not look like to them in their mind, but what it should look like. And a lot of times that is discussing that case management is to help them access services that are going to be beneficial to them, but also ensuring that they understand that case management itself is not going to cure their issues. It's going to be the services that they're linked to are going to be the things that will help them. And so sometimes their treatment has not ended, but maybe the service plan has ran its course and you've met everything on the service plan goals and objectives, and now they just need to continue on with their current treatment providers in the way that you have discussed throughout the entirety of their service plan.
Some final words about the termination phase of case management. Summary and review sessions take place with the client at each session, so the termination phase should never be a surprise. During monitoring, the case manager focuses on whether the plan is being implemented and the services are being carried out. Discussions with the client identify how satisfied the client is with the progress they're made at any given stage in the process. So by the time termination comes around, it's easy then to schedule a follow-up session and an exit interview with the client. The client this way can provide a summary in their own words of what they've accomplished and look back to see how far they've come from where they've started. And then plan for the next stage. What services will a client advocate for themselves? Provide a list of ways the agency can continue to serve the client, and provide the client with a list of resources and referrals, maybe the same list you've provided before or additional resources now that they're ready for next steps. The case manager plays an important role in coordinating access to other services that a client may need to achieve his or her objectives. To be an effective broker, the case manager should know all about the programs available, as well as the support services available from community partners and other agencies. This cross-organizational knowledge allows the case manager to link the client with transportation assistance, child care assistance, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, that which is known as SNAP, that was formerly food stamps, financial counseling, and other supportive services that will enable the client to achieve their goals. Developing relationships with staff members from human service agencies and community-based organizations can help case managers advocate more effectively for clients and enable the client to receive the needed support services.